What to do? I need to come up with something creative. Something that will capture the mood of what this video will be. I've got it. I'll make it black and white. Today on Shoots and Letters, we'll be looking at a very good but fairly old movie called Sunset Boulevard. Now, you may have heard of it, and you might recognize the picture on the screen. That's because it's a really famous and really influential work. Today, specifically, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. We're going to be looking at some overall themes. I really like to touch on those. B, we're going to be looking at some costuming and how that gets put over the themes and how that helps to reinforce them. And then C, we're going to be looking at just some specific lighting choices given the almost film noir genre that this movie really pertains to, and even more specifically how those both are kind of intertwined with the costuming and with one of the major themes we're going to be looking at. And in fact, we're going to do that all in inverse order. You won't be looking at me too much, but we're going to put some pictures up on the overall video and just kind of process through. So let's get started. So here's our first picture, and here's the first example you get of this sort of weird lighting. Is you see a lot of contrast and a lot of dynamic setup. So the right half of her face is lit, the left half of his face is lit. She's got a sharper line, she's in a darker area. He's got a much softer line from the lighting. He's in a more well-lit area, and this helps to really bring across the contrast and the conflict of these two characters, almost the tug of war that's going on. So there are two really, really cool things about this scene that I want to point out. First of all, she's got an almost angelic glow because of how sharp the lighting is on her face. And that's really ironic given that she is full crazy mode in this scene specifically. Secondly, she's literally basking in the glow of one of her earlier movies. She's basking in the glow of her earlier success. It does a lot of work to talk about what her character is. And I find that very interesting. So moving on to costuming now, we have this first picture. We see Joe talking to Max, and Joe is in this very light suit. But as the movie goes on, we're actually going to see his clothing start to get a little bit darker. He's going to wear dark ties. It's not 100% consistent. It's not like a full-on gradient, but it does hint to her influence on him. She's consistently wearing black. He's starting off wearing white. And then by the time it gets to the next picture I'm going to show you right now, he's in this black tailored suit, and he realizes exactly what his form and function in this house is. And he rebels against that, but he ends up kind of succumbing to it in the long run. And so her influence on him is very persuasive. Even when he's with the love interest, even when Joe's with Betty, and you can still see Norma's influence on him as he still has some dark clothing on. In the long run, this is probably the most interesting, actually, when we see him leave the house, and I'm going to show up that picture now. He's back in his white clothing, his white-ish light clothing, symbolically saying he's kind of shaken off her influence. And we see him get shot. We see him stagger towards this really, really well-lit pool and then fall into it. And we see that in this moment in death, he's able to fully leave her presence because he's falling into whiteness away from the blackness. Now, of course, this is only a device. It's not the crux of the movie, and it's probably not even something that we're necessarily supposed to notice. But that being said, there is a certain amount of intention behind it in showing his actions through both this dynamic lighting of really highlighting her character and making her seem this powerful person, and highlighting his succumbing to her willpower through his clothing choices and through the color, even though it's only black and white descriptions. And that really helps us unpack one of the major themes of this particular movie, and that is just the forgotten star mantra. So she's got this very vivid persona. He's got this very everyman feel, and through him we feel ourselves being sucked into her world until he really is an essential part of her world, isn't he? So anyways, thanks for watching Shoots and Letters. We'll see you next time on the next video review. Bye.